in the ghetto. Now I'm back. Big gangster, show your stack. It's the hustle and down the flow. From the ghetto.
That this shit is driving me crazy. But thank y'all for coming into the 103 drop off. And it brings a lot of turmoil when we're trying to get technical difficulties together. But anyway, it's 2/18, 2023. 103 Crazy Drop Off Radio number 12. Oh, yeah, number 11. It was taken down, but it's all good. We back around town. Most definitely we are. Let's see what we got in the building. Tonight, we have Let's Beyond Measures. Welcome, mama. Welcome, fam. We got Sammy T4. Welcome, mama. Welcome, fam. And we also got other people's coming in, a little bit later. They late. Ain't nobody on to she like, I'm here. Okay. Melissa Jackson. She here. What's up, fam? What's good? You got that macaroni and cheese and everything together? Was that what you was doing? You was trying to get that ready for Craze? Ha! Let me stop. Yo, y'all know that Craze loves some homemade macaroni and cheese, yo. Cheese and greens, the whole damn thing. None left out in between. You feel me? For real. But we got a show for y'all tonight. Most definitely. And this is not one of your most exciting shows, but it's crazy. Because when you pay attention to it, it's kind of like unbelievable, but it's a movie. It's kind of like a movie and it's scary. Yo, it's real scary. So we got our two presenters here, which is Melissa Jackson. Y'all give it up to her. Melissa Jackson in the building. And we also got Blessed Beyond Measures in the building. They're going to be bringing these stories straight to you, to a hood near you. You feel me? For real, for real. Yo, you wildin'. You wildin'. You wildin'. Anyway, I ain't even about to go there. With no further ado, we have Miss Melissa Jackson. So what is born? Let me go ahead and send out the invite. You know what I mean? And our presenters is about to come up and they're about to present the story. I ain't never even heard of this story until she brought it to my attention. This is crazy. So we about to focus on the first lady of O Block. You smell me? First lady of O Block. So the link is in the building. The link is out there in the chat. Please subscribe. Hit the like buttons and also share. Hit the share button. That also brings viewers in too. Please hit the share button. The like button, the share button, subscribe button. That's it. It's all free, y'all. So right now, with no further ado, I'd like to bring to the podium Melissa and Blessed Beyond Measures. On up. So let's get in some time to come on up. Melissa, are you there? Let's Beyond Measures. Yo, there you got the link in the chat. Hit the chat. Come on up. And while they're hitting the chat, what I'm about to do is I'm about to bring this up because I don't know what's going on, why they haven't came up yet. But this is the story right here. This is the story. Hold up. What's up? All right. All right. Finally, y'all came up. That's what's up. So I'm about to present the story with y'all. Well, I'm gonna let y'all have it. Gotta unmute.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
What's up, guys?
What's going on? What's going on?
All right, now, okay, is this the one that I recently sent you
Mm-hmm.
with 4 or 5?
This is the drop with 42 minutes on it.
No.
This is the drop with 42 minutes on it.
That's not the one that I was going to tell you to do. But okay, just play this one. Just play this one. Because it's saying the same thing.
More than 60 people shot over the weekend, a third of them under the age of 17.
Chicago faces an epidemic of gun violence. This year alone, more than 2,100 people have been shot, more than 400 killed.
We're going to take you now to Chicago, where this past weekend, at least 52 people were shot, 8 of them killed in a wave of violence across the city.
13. With that shit, you get that. And there's a lot of ways to get clout. Mistaken identity, anything. You ain't gotta do with this shit. There's innocent bystanders getting killed in this shit every day, man. That's why you gotta keep it up. I like to keep some big shit in case a nigga try me. I'm gonna cook his ass.
Call Shaq Boy, let the bag blow these bobber niggas like Osama.
Cray, my young nigga.
K.I., my young killer. A lot of niggas be rapping, but we the ones tote guns, nigga.
These EBT ass niggas right here, man. Yeah. Shit, bitch.
I'm from STL, but I be posted on EDT, bitch.
Boy took a bill, we shoot the kill, boy, this shit super real. Bell I don't know with the Draco and watch sure this shit spill.
She got super mad when I said I'm from 63rd, bitch. Say loss. Jakira Barnes, aka K.I., was born on January 21st, 1997, in Chicago, Illinois, to her mother, Chantel Brown. Before she would even turn 1 year old, she would lose her father. He was shot in the head with an AK-47 in front of his home. Some people say it's because he was a gang leader in the city of Chicago, but K.I.'s mom said that that's not true. K.I. would witness one of her brothers being murdered in front of her when she was very young, and death would become a common theme in her life. She also had a brother by the name of George Barnes, aka G.I. Joe, and they were very close. Growing up, K.I. seemed to be a normal girl. She enjoyed hanging out with her friends. She had boyfriends, and she was an honor roll student. She had dreams of becoming a social worker and helping out less fortunate kids. She attended Perspectives, IIT, Math and Science Academy. But in the middle of her 9th grade year, there was a change in K.I. Her grades were slipping. She was having behavioral issues at school, and she was spending a lot more time on the block. STL EBT, 63rd, with its most prominent member being Carlton Weekly, aka FBG Duck. K.I. wasn't a shooter at this time, but she would fight girls from rival neighborhoods like TYMB and their biggest rivals, who were basically right across the street at Parkway Gardens, Wick City. But what started as small neighborhood beefs and schoolyard fights were escalating into gunplay, and K.I. would start to lose more and more of her friends. Because on September 22nd, 2010, a 20-year-old man by the name of Jeremy Marshall, aka Lil Fo, was shot to death in the Woodlawn neighborhood. He was the cousin of FBG Kells, a well-respected member of STL EBT. It's said that the killer of Little Fo was Wick City member O.D. Perry, who was growing a reputation in the streets for being a shooter. And just a few months later, on January 12, 2011, K.I. would lose somebody who she was very close to, somebody who she grew up with, Shondell Gregory, a.k.a. Tuka.
STL crazy. You already know. See, I got the loud right here. You know, it's almost gone, but I don't give a fuck. Because I've been playing about the nothing.
Tuka was a beloved member of STL EBT. It said as he sat at a bus stop, a car with 3 men pulled up on him, 2 from TYMB and 1 from Wick City, O.D. Perry. According to witnesses, one of the men exited the vehicle with a half mask over his face. He exchanged a few words with Tuka. Then a large caliber silver revolver was shown, and Tuka was shot in the chest. He stumbled away and fell on the ground. Then the gunman stood over him and fired 3 more shots into his body before getting back in the vehicle and speeding away. And it said that the shooter was O.D. Perry. The members of STL EBT would rename their gang to Tukaville as a way to pay honor to their fallen friend. And they would also say that they were smoking on Tuka, just like the Outlaws did for the late great Tupac Shakur, as a way to pay respect. But the opposition of Tukaville would quickly transform this from an act of endearment into an act of disrespect. When rising Chicago rapper Chief Keef got a hold of the term, he would often rap about how he was smoking on Tuka as a way to taunt their rivals from STL EBT. But it wasn't just in songs or just in the streets where the dead were being disrespected. Social media would become a battleground for different gangs, going back and forth, making death threats, and disrespecting each other's dead homies, increasing the violence in the city. The death of Tuka turned K.I.'s heart completely black, and she wanted nothing but revenge. She would be taken under the wing of older STL member C-Ball, who was also close to Tuka, and her cousin, Boss Trail, aka the Chicago Max Payne. It said that he would teach the younger members of Tukaville about gunplay, how to handle their weapons, and how to kill. On August 10th, 2011, it was a celebration on STL EBT. It was Shondell Gregory's birthday. It was Tuka Day. FBG Duck will be filming his music video for his song Freestyle, and the whole Tukaville family would be there. And after filming the video, their adrenaline was pumping, and they felt like Tuka's birthday would be the perfect day for some get back. At 11:30 p.m., O.D. Perry would be walking near Parkway Gardens when he was ambushed and shot multiple times, including a shot to the neck. Losing his life at 20 years old, the members of Wick City would mourn the loss of O.D. Perry, and they would rename the block in his honor. But they would also wonder who exactly was behind his death. Many people were saying that it was top Tuckerville shooter Marvell Williams, aka FBG Wooski. But thanks to a witness tip, the Chicago PD would already have its primary suspects, Jakira K.I. Barnes and her street mentor, Rodney Stewart, aka Boss Trail. But many people didn't want to believe that a 14-year-old girl had taken the life of a respected Wick City member. O.D. Perry was known to carry a .357 Magnum, a gun he could be seen with in multiple pictures. But it said after shooting Odie, K.I. took that gun from him, and she could be seen on social media, posing with it as if it were a trophy. But by taking the life of O.D. Perry, K.I. would inadvertently create what would go on to become the most famous block in America, and they would call it O Block.
Pop out. O Block, bring them glocks out. 300, bring them chops out. We shoot on your block now.
You gotta know I go too far. Get two O's up on this honey, one of them might stand for O Block.
K.I. started to get the reputation of a shooter around the city, and her profile would rise even more when fellow Tuckerville member King Little J, who was a very popular rapper during the rise of the Chicago drill era, and he was featured multiple times on the popular DJ Academic series War in Chirac. He would mention her in songs, rapping about how she was a shooter and how she was putting the murder game down in the streets. Some members of Tuckerville called K.I. Little Snoop, as in Felicia Snoop Pearson, from the HBO television series The Wire. Her demeanor, her toughness, and how deadly she was reminded her gang of the character from the classic TV show.
Are you contracting or just doing some work around the house?
We work all over.
Full time?
No, we had about 5 jobs last month. Man, shit, I seen a tiny ass 22 wearing those, drop a nigga plenty of days, man. Motherfuckers get up, man, you like a pinball, whip your ass up. Big joints, though, big joints, man, just break a bone, just say fuck it.
K.I. was now in the trenches of the Chicago gang wars being supplied with weapons through very interesting origins. There are stories of U.S. soldiers smuggling weapons to certain gangs in Chicago, one of those gangs hailing from the South Side, the Pocket Town GDs, who are in the middle of a very violent war against a crew from the East Side in an area known as Terror Town. NLMB, No Limit Muskegon Boys, with its most recognizable member being the rapper G Herbo. But this is just one of many stories of high-powered weapons meant for the battlefields of Afghanistan or Iraq, making their way to the inner city community in the hands of young kids and teenagers waging war on one another. And death would once again come to take somebody close to K.I., a 13-year-old boy by the name of Taekwon Tyler. It's said that him and K.I. was cousins, but he was more like a little brother to her. They were very close, and they would spend a lot of time together, even though his mom moved him out of Chicago to a small town in Illinois to get away from all of the violence. But he would often come back to visit. He wanted to attend a house party that was being held on the 6200 block of South Rhodes Avenue. Initially, his mom didn't want him to go. She had a bad feeling about it, but he kept asking and begging about going to this party. He wanted to go with K.I., and eventually his mom agreed that he could go under one condition, that she would be there to pick him up as soon as the party was over. But as the party was ending and people were beginning to leave, a fight broke out amongst a group of men and gunshots rang out. One of those bullets striking 13-year-old Taekwon Tyler in the chest. His mom was already there to pick him up from the party, but what she found was her son bleeding out on the sidewalk. She held him in her arms as he took his last breath, and K.I. was there to witness the whole thing, her little brother being murdered right in front of her. It's said that the fight that broke out at the party had nothing to do with Taekwon, and he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. There is also a theory that K.I. had begun to train Taekwon on gunplay and how to rob, and she would send him to rob older drug dealers. And that's what happened. One of those dealers got mad, doubled back, and killed a young Taekwon. A man named Nashawn Flowers would be arrested for his murder, and he would ultimately be convicted and sentenced to 55 years in prison. After Taekwon's death, K.I. was truly heartbroken, but she vowed to make the streets bleed in his name. She would change her social media handle to Taekwon Assassin, and she would create a subset of STLEBT. Taekwon World comprised of some of the youngest members of the gang, people like TB and Poppy, Richie Jerk, and 0078, who's probably most well known for allegedly killing one of the most feared shooters in Chicago gangland history, 051 Melly. Taekwon World would quickly grow a reputation for dropping bodies. K.I. would instruct her youngins to slide on certain neighborhoods that they were beefing with, while she would go at the bigger targets. 800, TYMB, 300 in Lamron, and especially O-Block. Anybody could get it. It was a war going on, and in K.I.'s mind, she was a soldier. But in war, there are casualties, and Tukaville would lose another member by the name of Marlon Monroe, aka Little Doc, because on April 28, 2012, the 23-year-old Little Doc was walking home from work on the 6300 block of South St. Lawrence Avenue when a gunman leaned out of a vehicle and sprayed up the block, striking Little Doc in the chest. The Chicago PD would arrive on scene to collect evidence. They collected shell casings and anything else that they could see. They collected everything except Little Doc. He laid there in the tall weeds, dead, for hours, until a 16-year-old boy stumbled upon his body and called the police again, and they finally came and got him. In the months that followed, Tukaville and O-Block would relentlessly diss each other online, clowning each other's dead homies. And when it came to O-Block, they liked to diss one STLEBT member in particular, one of K.I.'s best friends, Shondell Gregory, aka Tuka.
Tuka, while I'm smoking on Shondell. Oh, my bitch, do my team, bro. Right up on your block. Yo. Go, man, down, bitch, you hard. Rolling up that.
And on September 25th, 2012, a fight would take place on the train that would forever tie K.I. to one of her biggest rivals, Davon Bennett, aka King Von. They started to fight as soon as they seen each other on the train. King Von would punch K.I. in the face multiple times. Then he would take to Twitter to let everybody know what he did to her. K.I. would acknowledge what happened, but said she only has a bruise on her face. But it's all good because her 40 cal could leave a hole in King Von's face. And a few days later, K.I. would tweet directly at King Von to let him know that she had just beat up a member of O-Block on the train. One of Von's friends, named Little Scud, King Von would acknowledge these tweets by saying that K.I. wasn't no lame and how he think he's in love with her. And K.I. would diss King Von in response, but that didn't faze him. He told K.I. that he wanted to wife her up and how he would treat her right. And on October 5th, 2012, King Von would begin to direct message K.I., telling her how much he liked her and how much he wanted to get with her. At first, K.I. would reject his advances, but Von would stay persistent, and eventually, she started to open up to him. She even asked him about a rumor that she heard that O-Block wanted her dead and that she was a top priority. King Von would tell her, "Yeah, there are people in O-Block that want you dead, but I don't think I could pull the trigger." He said that he liked her too much. He told her that he had a gun on him when she seen him on the train, and there was another time that they ran into each other and King Von was strapped, so if he really wanted to get to her, he could have done it those times. Von would also tell K.I. that after the gang wars were over, that they could be together. K.I. would ask King Von how long did he plan on gangbanging, in which King Von would respond by saying that he couldn't see himself doing anything else. that he loved his guys too much, and that he could never leave them behind. One thing that K.I. and King Von could agree on is that they both felt that they would die in the streets in the Chicago gang wars. But even though they would have moments of being cordial and somewhat respectful to one another, they were still enemies, and dissing would always come into play. Not too long after exchanging messages with Von, K.I. would tweet out about O.D. Perry, disrespecting him, in which King Von would respond by saying, "I should have pissed or spit on you when I seen you on the train that day, but I wasn't thinking straight." K.I. would then message King Von, making fun of O-Block, saying that they weren't dropping any bodies and how it was Tukaville putting in all of the work. K.I. got Von so agitated that he flat out asked her, "What, you want to have a shootout with me or something?" K.I. would respond by saying, "Hell yeah, with you and T-Roy." T-Roy being James Johnson, an O-Block legend. Despite his small stature, he was known for being feared in the streets and being quick with his gun. He was best friends with King Von, and together they formed a deadly duo known as V-Roy. K.I. would make good on her wish of wanting to have a shootout with him, because on October 9th, 2012, King Von and T-Roy would be spotted outside of the gates of O-Block. It's said that K.I., along with FBG Cash, ran down on him, spraying up the block and shooting King Von in the leg, but they were able to survive this attack. King Von would take to social media, making light of being shot in the leg, and he would tell K.I. that he wasn't a lame and that he shouldn't have to get shot in order for them to be cool, making jokes about the situation. But his best friend T-Roy, he would take a more serious tone by simply tweeting out, "I'm gonna kill this bitch." But K.I. wasn't done applying pressure to O-Block. She shot the female cousin of T-Roy, and she was arrested and questioned behind the incident. Even though she survived the attack and named K.I. as her shooter, no charges were ever brought against her. It's said that she also tried to murder her ex-boyfriend, Mikado 600, who was down with O-Block. She seen him near Parkway Gardens and tried to run down on him, but he was able to escape. The name K.I. is said to be a shorter version of her name Jakira, but it's also believed that it stood for Killer Instinct, and she definitely had it. But now, it was O-Block's time to slide. On October 13th, 2012, 3 young men were walking on the 6300 block of South Rhodes Avenue. Richie Jerk, Modell McKembry, and his cousin, Miles Turner, were going to see a girl. Once they arrived at the house, Modell's cousin Miles went up on the porch to talk to the young lady. Modell and Richie started walking down the block when 3 men appeared from a gangway out of the darkness. Richie Jerk started running and he was able to escape, but Modell, he was hit 5 times. And his cousin Miles, who was on the porch, seeing what happened, he ran to his cousin and held him in his arms. But as he was on the ground trying to console his cousin, the 3 gunmen made the decision not to leave any witnesses, and he was shot multiple times in the back. And those 3 gunmen were King Von, T-Roy, and J Money from O-Block. Modell McKembry was a known member of Tukaville, along with Richie Jerk, but Miles Turner had no gang affiliations. He was a high school football player at Leo High School, and he had dreams of playing college ball. But now, he was paralyzed from the waist down, and his dreams were taken away after being shot by King Von. Modell McKembry was 17 at the time of his death, and King Von would disrespect him on social media on a regular basis. But O-Block wasn't done putting in work on Tukaville, because on the morning of October 30th, 2012, a 23-year-old man by the name of Derek Johnson, aka P5, was walking on the 6200 block of South Eberhard Avenue when he was approached by 3 men, Big A from O-Block, J Money, and King Von. He was shot 6 times in the head and 9 times in the body. And although he hailed from Gyro City, he had strong ties to Tukaville. The day before P5's death, King Von would tweet out about how he needed to catch another body so he could finally catch up with his best friend T. Roy. But O-Block wasn't done applying pressure to STL EBT because on the morning of November 8th, 2012, 17-year-old Boss Trail would be found face down in an alley on the 2600 block of West 83rd Street. It said that he was out that way, far away from Tukaville, to meet a girlfriend. But when he arrived, he was met by 3 gunmen instead: J Money, T. Roy, and King Von. They had all conspired to set him up. He got double-crossed by an ex-girlfriend. Boss Trail was a high-profile member of Tukaville, and he was a high priority for O-Block to want to take out. He allegedly killed 2 of their most beloved members. On September 13th, 2011, 18-year-old Devon Varner, aka D-Thang, the co-creator of 600, would be chased down and shot to death, allegedly by FBG Wooski, Dome from Gyro City, and Boss Trail. It said that he was also responsible for the death of 19-year-old Sharoy Liggins on February 16, 2012. Sharoy was leaving a store near O-Block, but when he was walking out, Boss Trail was across the street, and he had a gun with a red beam. He shot Sharoy in the head from a distance, but he wouldn't die right away. He would be left in the hospital fighting for his life for the next 4 days, but eventually he would pass away. The members of Tukaville would make fun of Sharoy online, and they would often reference the red beam that Boss Trail used to take his life. And that same gun could be seen in the FBG Duck and King Little J video Critical, with Boss Trail pointing a red beam directly at the camera. Similar to Sharoy, who was left fighting for his life in the hospital, is the same way that Boss Trail would be left in the hospital fighting for his, but after 7 days, he would pass on as well. It's said that Boss Trail had plans on getting out of the gang life, and he bought a bus ticket to move to a new city and start all over. He wrote on Twitter about how he was excited for his new life, but just 2 days before he was scheduled to depart, he would be shot, and he would never make that trip. And O-Block would take to social media to taunt STL EBT on losing Boss Trail, one of their most important members. And it really hit KI hard. She was close to Boss Trail, and he had taught her a lot. Tukaville would celebrate the memory of Boss Trail, and they would also vow to get revenge in his name. But despite the bloodshed between O-Block and Tukaville, King Von and KI stayed in touch. King Von would tweet out about them talking on the phone and how sexy KI sounded, or how disappointed he was when she didn't answer the phone. And according to Tay Capone, who used to go by the name of Tay 600 and was very close to King Von, he said that he seen the messages between the two, and they were very interesting, to say the least.
After like weeks and weeks of him talking to her like that, on BDN, she started fake caving in to like, she thought like Von and her had some love, like a little fling or something after a while. Like, for you to show me the DM, no cap, like, for you to be right there, like, for look at this, but he'll be laughing like, I really got her.
According to KI's friends, there was definitely something there between her and King Von, but her friends also say that KI believed that she wasn't really pretty enough for Von to want. In her eyes, she felt, what is there to like?
He was like, well, she too pretty for that, and tell her to stop gang banging, you know.
He liked her as a girlfriend?
Yeah, he wanted to be her boyfriend. She just felt like he was trying to set her up and kill her. That's what she told me. She's like, I think he just trying to kill me. He don't like me. What's the like?
But King Von and KI's somewhat romantic and very deadly relationship would be put on hold because on November 20th, 2012, King Von would be arrested for unlawful use of a firearm by a convicted felon. He would spend the next year and a half behind bars. But even while locked up, King Von had K.I. on his mind. He would have his sister, Kayla B., reach out to her and tell her that Von missed her. And he wanted her to come see him while he was in jail. But K.I., she would just laugh off the messages. She was too busy becoming one of the most infamous shooters in Chicago. And it said that she began to do murders for hire. There was a message thread that was released from K.I.'s DMs between her and an unknown man talking about the possibility of taking out a high-profile Chicago rapper. And as they were trying to work out the details of the transaction, the conversation is abruptly ended with K.I. simply saying, $10K for Little Herb up front. Lil Herb meaning G Herbo, getting fast money, living a fast life. But she still wanted revenge for so many of her friends who had recently fallen. Modell, P5, and her mentor, Boss Trail. K.I. wanted get back on O-Block. And on September 2nd, 2013, she would get that opportunity at revenge because 21-year-old Jerome Woods, aka J Money, who was best friends with King Von and T-Roy, and known to go on multiple hits with him, including the murder of Boss Trail. And J Money would be set up in a very similar way as Boss Trail. When he arrived to the 6600 block of South Rhodes Avenue, he thought he was going to meet a young lady, but he was met by two gunmen, with one of those gunmen being Rasan Shaw, aka Lil B, No Surrender, one of the top shooters out of STL EBT. When J Money realized that he was being set up, he tried to run through a gangway, but he was shot multiple times in his back. He collapsed on the ground, and the other gunman walked up to him as he laid there and stood over him and put 4 more shots into his head. Immediately following the death of J Money, Little B would tweet out about it, and K.I. as well. She tweeted about shooting people in the head at point blank range. Then she would just flat out say, J Money ain't use his head, so we took it off. Tukaville had just upped the score, and STL EBT celebrated the death of J Money. They knew how much he meant to O-Block. In the morning of February 11th, 2014, King Von would be released from jail, and one of the first things that he did was tweet at K.I. saying, "What's up, ma? You don't miss a nigga?" K.I. would respond with gun emojis, asking to link up. King Von would laugh off the guns and ask her why she never came to see him, like she promised that she would. K.I. didn't respond for hours, and when she did, she said, "How does it feel to lose your homie while you locked up behind them bars during that time?" King Von didn't respond to this comment. He would simply tweet out, "R.I.P. J Money." K.I. would retweet this as well, making fun of King Von. But Def would once again pay K.I. a visit, taking someone very close to her, Little B, No Surrender. They knew each other ever since they were babies. They grew up together. Then they started to do drills together. But it wouldn't be the ops that would get to Little B. It would be the Chicago PD.
A massive police presence between Eberhard and Rhodes on 63rd. Patrol cars, blue lights flashing after a police-involved shooting.
He got shot 7 times on Rhodes, right there by the police.
Friends say 19-year-old Rasan Shaw had just left them to get something to eat.
He was running through the alley with no gun or nothing because he just left us. So we know he ain't had no gun. The police shot him unjustified. Too many times in his back. He ain't do nothing, man.
The death of Little B destroyed K.I.'s spirit. She completely broke down at the funeral. And now that K.I. was in pain, she wanted her enemies to be in pain too, especially Chief Keef, who had been dissing Tuka for many years, but he had long ago left Chicago for sunny Los Angeles and rap stardom. But he still had family ties in the city, and K.I. would take full advantage of this, because in the early morning hours of April 10th, 2014, 30-year-old Mario Hess, aka Blood Money, and a cousin of Chief Keef, was sitting in front of his family's home in West Inglewood when he was approached by a gunman and shot multiple times. Just 2 weeks prior to his death, he signed a deal with Interscope Records, and he did interviews talking about how he had big plans for the future. But unfortunately, those plans would never come to fruition. K.I. would let it be known that she was responsible for the death of Blood Money, but not even the death of her enemies could heal her heart. She would take to social media to talk about her pain and everything that she had been through in her life and all of the friends that she had lost. She even made a post about her dad and how she knew that she would be a better person if he was around. According to K.I.'s mom, she tried to talk to her daughter about everything that was going on, but when she looked her daughter in the eyes, she could already tell that her soul was gone, and her mother's intuition would be proven correct, because on April 11th, 2014, K.I. would make a fatal mistake. She would tweet out her location for everybody to see, including her enemies. She was walking on the 6400 block of South Eberhart. She was with FBG Butter and Spoon from Gyro City. They were headed over to Wooski's house to celebrate Boss Trail's birthday when a gunman hopped out of a vehicle, waved a few bystanders who was in his path out of the way so he could have a clear shot, and began to fire at K.I. and her friends. Her two friends would be hit, one in the foot, one in the knee, and K.I., she was hit 9 times in the chest, neck, and in the jaw. After being shot, she would stumble to a nearby home where she laid on some steps, and she would take her last breath, ending the life of the most deadly female assassin in Chicago gangland history.
Always apart, always acting wild when you should be doing what you told. You was never one of us. You never could be. How my hair look, man?
You look good, girl.
Following the news of her death, K.I.'s enemies would take to social media and rejoice and celebrate her demise. In Tukaville, they would vow to get revenge. Right after K.I.'s murder, 36 people would be shot in a 36-hour period, along with 4 people losing their lives. There were 2 prime suspects in the murder of K.I., with one of them being Antron Young, aka Big A from O Block. He would take to the internet and let it be known about his involvement in K.I.'s death. And he would change his social media handle from Big A to Big A-ski, meaning Ask K.I. But in the early morning hours of December 4th, 2016, Big A entered a Sammy's Grill on South King Drive. But while inside, an altercation occurred that resulted in him being shot in the face, dead at only 23 years old. Some people say that this had nothing to do with K.I.'s death, and it was a completely separate situation. But there's also a theory that it was 2 members from Tukaville, DeAndre Wallace, aka Can't Get Right, and George Barnes, aka G.I. Joe, K.I.'s brother. Some believe that he was the one that got get back for his slain sister. And the second prime suspect in K.I.'s murder was none other than King Von. On April 24th, 2014, he would be arrested and held for questioning, but ultimately, the state would reject the case due to lack of evidence, and King Von would walk free. But just a few weeks later, King Von would be arrested again for a different murder, that of 19-year-old Malcolm Stuckey, who was killed after attending a party in the Inglewood neighborhood. King Von would spend the next 3 years in prison fighting this case, but in 2017, after a 5-day trial, he would be found innocent and once again set free. But once he was released, he went right back to doing what he did best, drilling. There's a famous Instagram live with King Von and members of O Block going back and forth with members of Tukaville, with King Von saying that they had a surprise coming for him and that it was coming soon. On October 22nd, 2018, there was a funeral being held at Burnside Church for a 25-year-old man by the name of Van Treese Chris, aka Dusky the Man. There were members of Tukaville in attendance, but as the service was being let out, a car pulled up and started shooting into the crowd, hitting 6 people, including FBG Wooski with an almost fatal shot to the head.
Back to the shooting that happened on 92nd and Cottage Grove. At least 6 people were shot as they were leaving Bethlehem Star Missionary Baptist Church. Friends and families gathered for the funeral service of Chicago rapper Van Treese R. Chris, who went by the name Dusky the Man. Chris was shot on October 9th. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. The victims in yesterday's shooting range from 18 to 27 years old, males and a female. The most critical, a 21-year-old shot in the head.
King Von would let it be known that him and the Get Back gang were responsible for the brazen act. But King Von wouldn't have to be in the streets for too much longer because legendary Chicago rapper Lil Durk would take him under his wing and begin to groom him to become a rap superstar. And he would release a string of hits, quickly becoming one of the hottest rappers in the game. But even during his time at the top, he would still talk about K.I., dissing her in songs and on social media, along with other murders that he claimed that he committed, doing math, counting up the bodies.
Talk about bodies, I got a few, 4 + 3, 3 + 2, I'm King Von. Need no bean to make you bleed, nigga. Body count so ugly, I remind you of that scream, nigga. Bleed. You can't stand them. What? Body count so ugly, still handsome. Don't pop my chain, but dance. Let's talk bodies, I got 7. They stop me at the airport cause I keep that metal.
And the story of King Von and K.I. would get even more interesting in 2019 when the TV network A&E filmed a documentary titled Secret Life of a Gang Girl, The Untold Story. And during this documentary, they interviewed King Von, but from the tone of the interview, it seems as if A&E was under the impression that King Von was a man in love with K.I., obsessed with being with her, not knowing that they may have been interviewing a man obsessed with taking her life.
I was trying to first. I was like, damn. Doing shit.
The exact text was something along the lines of, when it's all over with, I'm going to get up in you or something. Does that sound about right?
That's something, that sound raw, so yeah, I'll be saying raw. Yeah, I probably did say that.
But King Von's ride at the top wouldn't last for too much longer. He had tension with superstar Louisiana rapper NBA Youngboy, who had beef with Lil Durk and OTF.
Fuck young boy talking about on this song, bro. What? He talking crazy on this one. Oh yeah? He ain't even like that. Oh! On his ass now. On his ass. Cap. You got cap in your raps.
Go straight, boss. Don't hit the white lady.
You got cap in your raps.
But in the early morning hours of November 6, 2020, that tension would escalate into a fight outside of a hookah lounge in Atlanta between King Von and Georgia rapper Quando Rondo, who was signed to NBA Youngboy. And this fight would result in King Von being shot multiple times, ending the life of the O-Block legend. 1 year after his death, the Chicago PD began to release documents listing King Von as the murderer in multiple cases, including that of Jakira Barnes, officially ending the chapter of King Von versus K.I. In the years following the death of her daughter, K.I.'s mom has gotten together with other mothers in Chicago who have lost their children to violence. FBG Duck's mom, Tuka's mom, amongst others, trying to bring some peace and light to such a tragic and dark situation. There's a stigma that Black kids in poor communities choose the gang life simply because they're more prone to violence. They want easy money, street credibility, and internet clout. And for some, that very well may be true. But there's also a number of young kids that choose the gang life to receive something they feel they never had before: love and family. Even if that love is coming from a cold street and that family is giving you a hug while handing you a gun to put in work. And if K.I. was raised in a different environment Under different circumstances, maybe her life would have turned out different for the better, but we'll never know. And Jakira Barnes, she was only 17 years old when she died. Rest in peace.
Wow. Melissa, anything you have to say? Melissa, lesbian measures, like I shouldn't be saying anything.
Okay.
Like,
When I get what I have to say at the end, um the host made a point. He said basically that, you know, if she was in another environment where there wasn't any gang violence, who knows what would KI be? And I agree with that 100%. Um, she was a student in her younger, I guess, like what, in the early, I think before she became in high school years. I don't know. But bottom line is, you know, she was getting A's. She was getting A's and B's. She was a very intelligent young girl. She was very beautiful. Okay. And bottom line is, I believe that she also wanted to be a social worker when she had grown up. So I feel like if she was in a different environment, she would have definitely been that. She would have definitely had her focus on being a social worker or even something more greater than that. Okay. I truly believe that um the environment is definitely something that can affect a lot of our youth today. It a lot of people blame the music, but I truly believe that it's the environment. Back in the days, everybody was working as a community to watch our kids, and everybody was raising the kids. Like the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And in this case, today, everybody is for self. And I think that if it was a community that was willing to raise these young people and look after each other's children and make sure these children are not getting into any harm whatsoever, I think that a lot of these children today would not be in the predicaments that they're in as far as gang violence, um, and getting into any other street situations. Um, I really feel for her. I really do. But I can honestly say she was one bad chick. Cause I mean, her body count was no joke. And for a girl her age, like to have the next to have the next generation today follow what she was training them to do as far as being an assassin and dealing with the ops and rolling up on them and stuff like that. It's just crazy to me. Like, you know, she was that skillful for her age. And it's just, oh man, it's really sad, but yet you can't help but be like, oh snap, I can't believe that this young lady was like that, because it's rare that you see that. That's all I have to say. Hello, is anybody saying anything?
Melissa, you running the show. What you doing?
Well, what do you have to say?
No,
Um,
you running the show, so
what do anybody have anything to say?
yeah. I feel the shorty was just way beyond her lifestyle. She was way beyond her lifestyle. She shouldn't even been up in it like how she was for real. Um, from get go. But like it starts at home. No matter where your child is at, I know they're gonna adapt to where they at. But it's just hard for me to believe this little girl right here was just up on trying to be the most she can be with people from her hood. And it's wild. It's unbelievable, but it's facts. So yeah, that's why I stand on that. Like it's impossible. It's impossible. But she didn't have a father. Um, she had a mother, and I kind of put that on her mother, like see what she was doing, or she could have sent her somewhere else where she had to stay in. If she knew what her daughter was doing, she didn't have to leave her there. She didn't have to live that lifestyle. Basically, what I'm saying, she could have sent her somewhere else. But she seen the transition when she come home, how she carry herself, how her swag is not female like, it's like boyish like, and then is she checking to see what her daughter doing? Is she going in her bedroom, seeing how she living? She asks, is she talking to her daughter? Is she having conversations with her daughter? That's all BS. So I kind of blame the moms on that. The reason why she got caught up in the situation that she got caught up in. She should have knew from the father of what happened to the father, even though she didn't believe that's what happened. But you can change. You don't have to put it. You don't have to leave a child in that situation where they have to become of the streets. And I'm pretty sure they come. She come home every day and see her every day. We are talking about. What is your conversation like? So I kind of blame the mother for that shit. She don't get no leeway on my side.
I want to take it back to what Melissa was saying about, how they are being raised. And we have to, if we really want to get deep into this, we have to really back to the beginning. Chicago is a very place to live, to gang violence and that whole area were put in. They don't have a choice. Their mothers, their fathers, their grandmothers, their uncles. So we can only expect but so much when it comes to that part. Yes, when you get to a certain age, you know right from wrong. But I guess only a person who lived in Chicago and lived that lifestyle could really come and sit here and tell us. And I'm pretty sure they would say they don't have a choice. When you don't know who to trust and you don't know who's your friend and who's not, I'm pretty sure it's scared outside of that and have to walk through neighborhoods or have to dodge different neighborhoods because you know that this block over here don't like my hood. So I can't go down the street to that block because it's a chance of me dying. And in her situation, I think they were more so put into that lifestyle. And if you really want to take it back a step further, I think all of this even probably stems from the young guy. They called him Poppy. I have to look up his real name, but he was an up and coming rapper too as well. And I know they got a ringtone out on the cell phones nowadays. They call it the Poppy ringtone. And that was the beat. And he made some money off of that. He became real big off of it. So, this whole gang violence and this, back and forth thing between all of these rappers in Chicago, it's a
Okay.
I do
And
believe that, Vine, Vine wanted her dead. Like I said, that goes back to, you killed my homeboy, okay, I'm kill one of yours. So it's kind of
I want to say something about that. Um, as far as King Vaughn, I believe, and okay, call me a helpless romantic, but I truly believe that he was feeling her. I believe. I mean, sometimes pride and ego gets in the way and not let you reveal how you really truly feel about somebody. So of course friends or other members might, you know, have an opinion on what they think it was and possibly can say, well, he was talking slick and trying to make her believe this and this and that and whatever. But I honestly believe that he had some type of feelings for her. And then in a way, I also believe that he was trying to talk in his slick way to get at her due to the fact that she was an op. And it just so happened that she was in that state of mind where she was like, well, I'm not like no not I'm not like no ordinary girl. I'm not gonna fall for it. And bottom line is I hear you, but I'm not listening. You understand what I'm saying? And I truly believe that she was aware in a way that he might have had some type of feelings for her, but at the same time, she was she had a mind of an assassin. She had a mind of a woman that is like, listen, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I got bodies out here in these streets, and I'm not gonna let nobody take me down just because I'm letting my feelings get in the way of anything, or you said something sweet. No, that I don't know what type of person you really are, so I'm not gonna fall for that. So I truly believe that in some ways, there was a little something something as far as flirting, but at the end of the day, everybody was like, I'm putting my cards on the table and letting it be known, yeah, we're flirting, but you still the enemy and I'm not having it. So their history with each other as far as their back and forth with Twitter was very interesting to me. And I think it wasn't until she mentioned killing his best friend that's when everything shut down. And King Von was like, okay, you know what? I see you. Now shit got real. That's what I think. Sammy, what about you? Is Sammy there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just think it's just a sad situation all around. But I'm looking at these kids and I'm like, these are children that were raised by children. And that's the whole big problem. They weren't raised by adult mothers like I was raised. Because, once the government step in and the government tell you how you're supposed to discipline your children, that takes away from a parent, takes away from their thinking, takes away from their framework. See, because you weren't having all this gang banging. The most gang you'll probably see is, okay, me and my boys from class, we going to the game room and play some games, and I'm gonna beat you at Pac-Man or Donkey Kong. Um, I think a lot of their situation stem from their parents being younger. Um, the parents not marrying one another being younger. The fathers maybe leaving the household because maybe they're part of a gang or whatever the case may have been. We talking almost, okay, go back 31 years in Chicago. 31 years ago in Chicago, I lived in the Inglewood neighborhood. You had gangs, but they weren't like they are now, where all they talk about is money, rapping, and killing. You had members from different gangs, okay? They had their side they would be on. You had your side you would be on. Long as nobody crossed you up trying to take over where you was dealing, we mostly was the big seller back then. Um, they didn't have a problem with you. Now everything is about, if you look at me funny, if you wearing a different color than me, I'm gonna step to you. It's just it's crazy. If you know somebody that rap and they rap better than the person I know that rap, it's on. It's just kills me to see all of this going on and knowing that I was right there in that neighborhood 31 years ago. 31 years ago, I lived on 65th and Normal. 31 years ago, me and my baby would ride the bus or drive a car over on the east side. We would walk up and down 63rd and Eberhard. All this stuff was not going on like this, but it's like now the music genre that's going on now is what got these kids out here wanting to beef with one another, to look for money, clothes, jewelry, you know, and the gangs, because the gangs is what's it. But then you see how many of the gang members really do survive out here in these gangs. Even if they're rapping, they're dying off now. So that you would think that would deter these kids, but it's not. You know why? Because parents have given up. Half of them has become their kids' friends. The other half, as long as the kids are bringing money in the house, they don't care. This is where it's going. So now all the government is thinking of doing is locking them all up. Once they find out they belong to a gang, they pin them to that gang, and they just gonna sit back and wait for the Ricos to come in. That's where it's at now. 31 years ago.
So I got a question for you guys.
My son is 34 right now, and I took him out of Chicago for that reason. Because I saw that the gangs were getting tough out there, and I didn't want him to be in it. So if a mom didn't want her child to be a part of that, it's easy to just drop all that you're doing and get away from it. You do not have to raise your kids in that.
Do y'all think Chief Keef made it worse when he came out?
I think it was where it was going to be, regardless of if he got out or not.
I agree. Chaos.
Because you look at a lot of them, while they sitting up in jail, they're giving out orders. They're still giving out orders. I want you to go do this, and I want you to go do that. Don't hold back on that person. Let's get it done.
I don't think Chief Keef really had nothing to do with that, because their lifestyles is gonna keep going. Everything's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep moving. I mean, it's like if you make it out the ghetto. Let's say if your son was in the gang or whatever, and let's say they was looking for him. Let's say you moved him somewhere else, somewhere better. And he ain't got to deal with that. It's still gonna go on. It's still gonna happen, no matter what happens.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you know one thing about it, though, like I said, I never stopped raising my children the same way that I started raising them. And once these people allow other people to tell them how to raise their children, and they start giving up on how they want to raise their children, then that's when they lose out. You might lose your child to a gang when you just give up. But yeah, I think them boys that sit in
I can
jail,
only
I don't
imagine
think
how.
none of that changes the situation. Because if they wanna beef with someone and they have a beef with someone, regardless if one person is locked up or not, they gonna continue on.
You can't really just. That's why you got to do what you can do. So no matter what happens, the saga continues. Everybody got to be on one accord, especially the parents.
Right.
The parents got to be all on one accord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, they love it. So they don't want to see anything stop. And like Miss Sammy was saying, the parents, I guess, they throwing up their hands because it's like, what can I do? On one hand, you want to try to save your kids, but on the other, kids going to do what they going to do. There's only so much that they can do to a certain extent.
Right. They out of
So
control
it's like
now.
you damn if you
So
do, you
now
damn if you
they're
don't.
saying, "Oh, we don't have no
Right?
control over
Yeah.
our kids." But when we had control over our kids, they didn't like it. They said we were abusing them psychologically. If we spanked them, we were teaching them to hit. This is what they said to stop us from spanking our kids. Give them time out, you know. Well,
Right.
time out might work for little Johnny, but it don't work for Denzel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But I blame it on the police officers too. I blame it on the governor. The governor
That's
is
what I
weak.
said.
They act like they're scared. If
It
it's
got
like
to
that
do with it
in
too.
Chicago, they
Oh,
need to bring in soldiers. Bring in
Yeah,
soldiers.
I say, I say, I say, line them all up and put them to work. Since they want to be out there shooting up sides, hey, send they bus to Iraq.
Nah,
They
No,
worrying about they worrying about they worrying about them shooting up the town. Get them a real job. Since they like assassinating things,
that's it.
nah. They
I
need they
agree
need
with that.
they need a real scare. Bring the soldiers in. Bring the soldiers in. They clean up the fucking city. Arrest the motherfuckers that want to be fucking gangsters and all that. With all them damn medals and shit that's in the street is like a plague. Innocent people is getting hit. Innocent people's dying. Why the government ain't stepped in and brought some fucking authority to that fucking city? Like, what is going on? Then y'all
because
lock up the man that
because the government is part of the problem.
I know we know that's the point I'm making.
That's
Why?
why they ain't stepping in.
But they supposed to step in. They supposed to been stepped in. Like Beirut, they supposed to been stepped in.
They ain't gonna step into what they already accomplished. That's their accomplishment right there. They want the massacre in the streets. The less black folks that's in on the streets is what they want. So why not drop a few guns here, a little dope there, and allow us to kill off our own people, and then they'll be able to control the rest.
Man, that's crazy. That ain't
I
good.
agree. I agree with Sammy. I mean, I think the agenda is so much bigger than what we think it is.
It
I
is.
think that they want us to kill each other because them killing us, they got the cops. That's as far as it
Hmm.
goes. But you can't wipe us all out with cops. So
Right.
why not have us brainwashed and programmed and make us kill each other
Hmm.
and kill it? Not only have us have guns, but let's say every liquor store. Do you know that in every neighborhood where Black and Latinos is, there's a liquor store on every corner, just about. And when you go to the white communities, you don't see
You
anything
don't
because they're
see it.
selling wine at Walmart, at the mall, but you don't see
Mm-hmm.
any of that. You know,
Nope.
the liquor stores that you see in the neighborhoods where Black and Latinos is at, you don't see that in the white neighborhoods. You
Nope.
don't. So they want us to kill ourselves. This is
Yep.
why, and even like yesterday in a conversation that we had on Chaos and Alicia, when I was talking about how they always gave us the second best of something with groceries, for example. They don't give us the fresh fruits, the fresh vegetables, the fresh this and that. They give us the hand-me-downs from the
Mm-hmm.
last the previous grocery store. So
Yep.
bottom line is, okay, well, let these people kill themselves. You got your guns, you got the cops, you got the drugs, you got the liquor, and you got the damn food because all they eat is pork and chicken. That's what it is in their eyes. So it's a very big agenda. They want us to wipe our asses out. Period.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they really don't want it to stop in Chicago. They did.
No, they don't. Because bottom line is, even down to the jobs, of course it's like
The government got all the
they
resources.
all listen, there is not I don't know how Chicago is, but I know that from what I heard of, okay, there is a lot of poor areas. There is not a lick of jobs available for people in that environment. So of course, what the hell you gonna do to survive? But to rob, but to sell drugs, but
Yep.
to sell a gun, but to prostitute,
Yep.
but to strip. Ain't nothing else but to do. Ain't nobody telling them, hey, why don't you go start a business?
Yep.
Nobody ain't telling them that. Nobody
Nope.
ain't saying, hey, you know what? Why don't you go to the army? Why don't you go to college? Why don't you do this and this and that? Nobody is doing that because everybody is
Yep.
for themselves. And bottom line is, it's all about survival of the fittest. That's it.
Yep.
So let's go on to this next subject right here. Let's see. You can present it.
What was the next one that you was going to do?
The one that's on the screen right now.
Okay, hold up. I can't see that far without my glasses. New documents prove King Von murdered Chicago female driller K.I. and K.I. and King Von's history. So this is basically what I was discussing earlier about their history and how they went back and forth, but it also talks about later on after King Von's death, they're finding out that he was the killer of KI. So this is the video.
Yeah. She just felt like he was trying to set her up and kill her. That's what she told me. She like, I think he just trying to kill me. He don't like me. What's the
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, today I had to come through and talk about this King Von and KI situation, man. I just feel lost for words because it's kind of weird to me how all this is coming out now. I mean, if you know, you already know, right? But the sudden news about this quote-unquote alleged leak of evidence that just came out with these documents proving that King Von is, in fact, her killer is kind of crazy to me because also for y'all that know what's going on, you know King Von wasn't alone. That's one. And two, why is he being highlighted throughout this whole situation? And why is it coming out now? All right, so in this video today, we're gonna get into the whole situation of how and why they pretty much highlighting King Von as K.I.'s killer. And not to mention, I also want to get into the history of K.I. and your boy King Von. So make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And make sure you stay up to date with some of the latest content on YouTube. Now, let's get straight into it. Now, as a lot of y'all may know, Chicago is a different kind of place, man, because even though 17-year-old got Kara Barnes, a.k.a. K.I., and Davon Bennett, a.k.a. King Von, was heavy into it with each other, when her Twitter was hacked, it showed her and King Von actually conversing with each other via DMs. More so Vaughn trying to get her pants and whatever the case may be. And no disrespect to KR, but Vaughn must have been a crazy man because not only was she really in the street, you know, but she looked like one of the homies. Like, I don't know which other way to say it, man. But aside from that, my point was that in Chicago, you could be heavy into it with someone and still have a regular conversation with this person as if you're not even at odds. So much that you would think that they've been friends or something for the longest, but they really enemies trying to kill each other. And it's kind of weird because it's like confusing. And we seen the same type of behavior between THF Zoo and 051 Melly. Now, there was two guys really into it, but sat on IG Live sometime for hours from time to time and actually laughed and conversed with each other back and forth. That was crazy. But when Melly died, THF Zoo paid his respects to Melly respectfully. So, you know, killers respect killers. But anyway, even though Vaughn always tweeted K.I. and weirdly flirted with her, she was in the streets catching bodies, a few that allegedly were close to Vaughn and the BDs, and two main ones were OD and J Money. And for those that don't know, a situation involving the two will be the beginning of a deadly rivalry when an altercation in 2012 at a train station that left K.I. being jumped by King Von and other suspects who caught her lacking. Now, after the situation, Vaughn went back and forth with her on Twitter until he would be arrested in 2012. I posted a lot of the tweets, but it was way too much talking between the two. And honestly speaking, I think if they wasn't ops and blood wasn't spilled on each other's side, they would have both ended up getting in a relationship or something together. I'm telling you. Because if you really pay attention, it seemed like K.I. was actually feeling Vaughn's gangster. Like, she was messing with him. Like, she was really like, you know, I wouldn't say she was digging him because she didn't really give no clear indication about that. But the way they conversed with each other via Twitter and the way the vibe seemed, I don't know, man. She was answering him back and forth. You gotta remember, she's a woman, so even if she don't want to show any type of emotion, it's all about energy. She was giving him enough attention to where, you know, he felt like he kept going. But it was blood spilled on each side that, you know, stopped them two from even really being able to interact like that. So I guess that's where it stopped. And like I said, even though she kept her guard up, she did always give Vaughn a little, I don't know, maybe to me, I just see like she gave him a little bit of, you know? And we got to remember that she's a woman at the end of the day. Yes, she was on her gangster. Yes, she was really manning things down. Yes, she was really in the streets. But as a woman, you have certain emotions. And not to mention, that kind of played out in a lot of the things that was going on between K.I. and, you know, her personal life. Aside from all the bodies, the tweets that she would make, it sounded very emotional. You got to remember, even though she was in these streets, she was still a woman, a young lady at the end of the day. So they still have emotions, and no matter how you try to hide it, you know, they still going to show somehow, some way. Now, even though these two flirted back and forth, things heated up when allegedly K.I. killed J Money and also taunted King Von about J Money being killed while he was behind bars. I honestly think Von had some love for her up until that point because J Money was really his friend, and that one hit home. All right, it seemed like at that point, that's when all the games stopped, and that's when Vaughn really got on his hunter, really crazy predator mentality. I don't know how to call it, but it seemed like that's when all the games stopped. Now, the day King Von was released on that charge, February 11th, 2014, he tweeted K.I. asking her, quote, if she missed him, and quote, why she didn't come see him. All right. Now everything was going normal until K.I. tweeted this. She said, quote, how it feel to lose your homie while you behind them bars doing that time, end quote. And then King Von replied, rest in piss, P Crack and Modell. And then K.I. replied, quote, if I could, I'll dig J Money up and shoot his vagina A-word again. Devil emoji and 100% emoji. So pretty much what she was doing, she was letting it be known that she is responsible for that body. Now, that might sound real crazy, but at the end of the day, that's how this whole Chicago drill scene was back in the days. These people are on Twitter, on social media, pretty much indicting themselves. I don't understand how none of them was able to get caught. I don't know how they was able to still walk the streets and still catch as much bodies as they did. This is why I also be thinking that things are very suspect, because these, mind you, they was kids. Like we hear about these individuals and we may think that they were older, but they were just as young as 13, 14, 15. If you look at some of the tweets, Vaughn is talking about him being in school. So it's no secret that they were kids, man. They getting away with literally killing each other. You know, so once again, it was definitely a different time back then. These people were sitting on Instagram and incriminating themselves and just saying whatever they want, and I don't know, no repercussions was brought upon their way. Now, fast forward, K.I. was killed April 11th of 2014 by a, quote, hooded man while walking to a friend's house. Now, reports say she was shot 9 times in Woodlawn around 3:30 p.m. She was shot in the chest, jaw, leg, and neck, and later died at 5:43 due to her injuries. Now, she was with 2 other people, including her twin brother, who were also shot, but they survived. Now, it says days after K.I.'s death, King Von tweeted this, quote, N-words killed my homie, and I made them feel it. 100 emoji. That was April 15, 2014 at 7:16 p.m. Then another tweet came in when he said this, quote, I'm King Von from O Block and I run ish. Hashtag RIP blood money. 100 emoji. He posted this on April 15th, 2014 at 8:06 p.m. Now another tweet went like this. He said, quote, put your brains in your lap. You wasn't thinking anyway. End quote. Then he put the power emojis, gun emojis, devil emojis, and 100 emojis. And that was posted on April 14th, 2014 at 9:27 a.m. Then another tweet went out. He said, stretch gang. That was April 12th, 2014, the day after K.I.'s death. And that was at 10:24 a.m. Now, he also tweeted, he said, rest in piss, Little B. And I'm pretty sure he's referring to, K.I. And he posted that on May 15, 2014 at 8:54 p.m. Then another tweet came where he said, quote, man, who is Snoop? Because I want to get real disrespectful if it's a dead op. Laughing emoji, devil emoji, 100 emoji. He posted this May 15, 2014 at 8:02 a.m. Keep in mind that K.I. was often referred to as Snoop from the Wire. It was very similar in their looks. They were both, killing. They was both women. So, what else? King Von also put another tweet out there. He said this, I miss my old B word. And he tagged K.I. by her Twitter @name, followed by a heart emoji, crying, and laughing emojis as well. He posted this, which was most recent, August 6th of 2018 at 10:57 p.m. Now, King Von, he even went as far as mentioning the details about her murder in a few songs like Grandson and Wait and War With Us. Now, some even said that she knew that her end was near because days before passing away, she made crazy cryptic tweets that made people think that she knew that her time was coming. She said things like this, quote, money coming, money going, it ain't like you could take it with you, end quote. Then another tweet said, quote, you're nobody until somebody kill you, end quote. Then another tweet said this, I'ma die a real N-word, we all got that day coming. And then a last tweet, it says, in the end, we die with prayer hands and 100% emojis, right? So it's pretty, I don't know, like, you know, when it comes to death and when it comes to something negative happen to you, 9 times out of 10, you can feel the energy before it comes. A lot of people said before death, well, studies show that before death, a lot of people tweet things like that, or they just look lost. So, you know, they just got that look like they don't, you know, they in a bad state of mind. But anyway, my question is this, right? Now that we got the whole backstory between K.I. and King Von, why is this story that's pretty much already out, if you already know what's going on, why is it coming out so suddenly now? All right, this situation happened years ago, and it seemed like they already have gathered enough evidence a long time ago. Why didn't they pick Von up before his passing? You know, now it's all over blogs and everything due to quote-unquote hack, leak data, they say. Why now? Now, the story that's going around, they saying this. This is from an article. It says this. The investigation revealed that the victim was killed by Davon Bennett, a.k.a. King Von, the document states. The CCSAO reviewed the investigation and concurred that Bennett was positively identified as the offender in the incident and felt that they would be unable to meet the burden of proof in court and formally rejected charges. It should be noted Davon Bennett was charged with first-degree murder recorded under HX 281542 and that he shot and killed Malcolm Stuckey, no IR, on 29th May 2014. Now, my thing is this. If they failed to meet the burden of proof, how is it coming out that he is, in fact, the suspect? Now, for the ones that already know what's going on, it's no mystery that there were 2 other individuals that was involved in this case. And there's no mystery as to what happened, but that's if you know what's going on. In fact, when King Von died, Duck's mother went and said, quote, "You can get your rest now, K.I." End quote. So if he wasn't on game before then, pretty much that should have told you. But at the same time, allegedly, there were 2 others involved with the whole situation with K.I., King Von, and you know, so why is King Von being highlighted in this whole thing, in this whole situation now? You know, that's another red flag, and those are questions that people aren't asking. Or theory is this: maybe this will help a certain someone play innocent in a current ongoing case where they might put all the blame on King Von, try to pin him as a savage already, and make it seem as if this was all his doing in the case that he has with such and such. I mean, he's not here to defend himself, so why wouldn't they put all the blame on him in the first place? Do y'all get it? Do y'all get where I'm going? And I'm not saying this is the exact reason, but sometimes, you know, you got to add certain things up. And even, you know, maybe I could be wrong, but at the same time, I don't know, man. This is looking too weird. It's not adding up. It looks suspect. Now, also, K.I. was a well-known savage and had a few bodies under her belt that even the public already know about. So since when did the police care so much to investigate another savage's death like this and suddenly make it their business to find her suspect or broadcast it? Meanwhile, bodies is dropping left and right in Chicago and cats is getting away with it, even in broad daylight. Look at FBG Duck. Or look at a more current situation, KTS Drake, who just been murdered in front of a whole jail. Come on. Now, someone is definitely tipping these guys off. And when I say tipping them off, I mean like someone is I feel like someone is fueling this, and I could be wrong. Like I say, y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments. Don't just let me speak my mind. How do y'all feel about this? Why is it so sudden? Is anybody feeling like this as well? I find it hard to believe that they had enough evidence to pick up King Von and just never did. It doesn't make sense. They let him stay out, especially him being as famous as he was, right? They let him stay out, and now that he's gone, he's bringing it back to life. Unless it was all part of an agenda in the first place. And some of y'all gonna rush to call me some type of conspiracy theorist, which is cool. But y'all gotta read between the lines, man. And even if you don't, at least admit that something isn't adding up. from all the incriminating tweets Vaughn done put on Twitter, to all the song references he done did or said that he was incriminating himself in before. You mean to tell me y'all didn't pick up on that then, and now suddenly it comes out that he actually is the killer? Come on. And we all know that he wasn't the only one, so why just him? And oh yeah, before I forget, right, to add salt to the injury and scorn K.I.'s family, in 2019, the TV network did a documentary on K.I. and thought it'd be a good idea to interview King Von, who was an opposing member and rival of K.I. They thought it'll show unity or peace, I guess, to have King Von up there, but I'm assuming they had no idea that they was actually interviewing the suspect. I mean, come on, King Von was on there trolling the whole time, but if you didn't know the situation, then you wouldn't have understood what was going on. And it's crazy because he even went on there talking about wanting to have sex with this girl on TV, and he is the suspect. That's crazy. But now also my theory, my conspiracy theory mind tells me that maybe that was the feds trying to set Vaughn up to say something incriminating so they could book him then, or have some type of evidence on him then. But Vaughn ain't no dummy, and we know that. But once again, out of everybody else, man, to have on that show dedicated to KI, why pick King Von? That's another red flag. But anyway, I'm going to leave all that there, man. I hope this cleared up a few questions y'all had or helped y'all better understand a few things. Yes, KI was a girl, but she was very, very, very dangerous. Don't get that part confused. Also, I always tell y'all, man, if you live by the gun, you'll die by it as well. There's no sympathy in the streets. If you live by the gun, you will die by the gun, and that's just it. All right? Don't forget to like, comment, share.
So, is there anything that people want to say about that?
I mean,
I believe that
he do got a point where, like
yeah.
you were saying, like, why would
Yeah, I believe that too.
Go ahead, Miss Amy.
If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I believe that too, as well as what he was saying about people thinking it was a conspiracy theory. Yeah, people are gonna always think that because no one wants to put it in the hands of where it needs to be, and that's the federal government, the police, the politicians. They know what they were doing by keeping Vaughn out of the situation till he was dead himself. But like I said, if you live around it and be around it, you know about it. Police been setting up people for decades. This ain't nothing new. It definitely ain't nothing new for them rappers. They're just more easier targets now.
It's even more sad though. It is.
Yeah, it's more sad, but the only thing sad is the fact that they fall prey to it. You think they just giving you guns and they just giving you drugs to be out here and allowing you to be out here for no reason? No, there's always a reason behind it. They want you to kill off somebody that they tired of, then that's the one they gonna get you to get.
My thing is, where the OGs at? Ain't no OGs. So you said
they're locked up.
It's a city full of kids running around with guns.
Yep.
It's a whole project full of kids and no OGs.
Yep. It's a whole lineup of kids.
Okay, we already know
with guns, because the OGs that are getting out of jail now are afraid of these kids out here with these guns now.
Yeah, because they're running around like lawnmowers.
Exactly.
They're freelance.
Right.
Killers.
They like she, knew when she back in Chicago, it's way the OGs back in the day, they went by rules. They had structure. These kids don't want to listen to nobody. Like Miss C
It ain't nothing like
said,
it was
everybody for themselves.
when it ain't nothing like it was when Hoover was out, and when the leader of the Vice Lords was out as well. You didn't have this all this chaos going on like it is. If the only time it was hits done, they put the hammer down for it to go. You wasn't gonna hit nobody without them knowing. If you did, you were in trouble. So when they decided they wanted to RICO Willie Lloyd and Hoover, this is the mess that they got now. Kids killing kids, but only black kids killing kids. You ain't gonna hear about that mess going on in the white neighborhoods.
What they need is a clean sweep.
Yep.
Bring the National Guards in and do a clean ass sweep. Get all the motherfuckers, lock them up, get the guns off the street, mount the neighborhoods, get the bitches up, and it'll be a better place.
Yeah, well,
police won't do it.
The last time they did a clean sweep was when
they ain't
in
never
Chicago.
did no clean sweep. They ain't never did no clean
In
sweep.
Chicago, they did one clean sweep. Yes, they did.
No, not
Yes, they did.
But the army ain't come through and get all.
They did one clean sweep in Chicago.
Sammy, how
and,
and that shit is still happening? It's impossible.
And did you hear what I said? They did one clean sweep in Chicago when Mayor Jane Byrne was in office.
No, what year?
And
who that is?
70, we talking 78, 79. And they ain't did one.
I'm talking about now. I ain't talking about back.
I'm not talking about, well, look, you said they ain't never did a clean sweep, but they have.
I was born in 78, so they ain't did
okay, but you know what? Just because you wasn't born does not mean that it's not relevant, though.
It's not. That is not. I'm talking
yes,
about
it
now.
is.
I'm talking about now. It can't be relevant if I'm talking about now. Because
okay.
Now I ain't talking about.
Okay, well, a lot of things now, like I said, if people get on top of their kids, stop trying to hang out with them like they buddies, and going out and partying with them, you'll have a better chance at life. Now
they partying with their parents. They partying with these young niggas.
No, they partying with their kids.
No, they're not.
Oh, yes.
No, they're not. They partying.
Yes, they are.
And haven't been a clean sweep in there.
It doesn't matter about a clean sweep. You can't get a clean sweep on something that you're doing, though. Chaos, what you fail to realize. The government's doing, they won't undo their doing. They want them kids to do just what they're doing.
Those are the only people that can do it. Can't nobody else do it. The parents can't do it. Ain't the politicians gonna do it. They selves ain't gonna do it. So the president gotta bring in the clean sweep so they can do it.
Yeah, well, good luck with that one.
They gotta down door to door to door and get that shit clean.
Good luck with that one. So now you're talking about them turning into Russia.
No, I ain't talking about them
putting the whole country on lockdown to get. Yeah, because that's what they would have to do. Though.
No, they won't have to do that. They
would.
Sweep. It gotta be a clean sweep. Maybe you have to do a martial law in that bitch.
Yeah, well, you have to do martial law everywhere because it's not just Chicago.
No, martial law can happen.
It's not just Chicago, though.
But it's in Chicago right now.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Everywhere, like in Chicago.
It's everywhere, though. You just don't hear about it.
No, I hear about it. I live in it. But it's not crazy like over in Chicago. It's
but like I said, it's everywhere. It's not just Chicago. If you go martial law Chicago, then you better martial law Wisconsin.
They more out of hand than fucking in LA. What are you
I don't care where they are. out of hand at, because half the
These are
people,
kids with guns. You got
half of the people,
parents ain't gonna speak up. They ain't gonna do nothing. So you go over there and talk that what you say.
half of the people that's causing the gang situations are coming from LA,
Man, listen, no.
all over the place.
Chicago been a fucking gang state for a long time. This ain't nothing new.
Okay, Chicago been a gang state, but I guarantee you, like I said, if Hoover wasn't locked up and Willie Lloyd wasn't locked up, I guarantee you it wouldn't have been. It would not be the same as it is. They knew exactly.
At that time.
They knew exactly what they were doing when they locked him up.
Lose that time.
No,
So
it doesn't matter about daytime and all daytime passing. It doesn't.
Can I talk?
You've been talking.
No.
Okay, chaos. Okay, so it's like your way or no way. Then that's what you're saying.
You just keep talking.
Well,
you're not even
okay,
listening.
all right.
You're not listening. Even if they let him out, even back then at that time, then maybe yeah. But no, that time done passed. And if they let him out now, they still not gonna listen now. It's a new day and age. It's a new day in order. It's a new whole world. They need a clean sweep now. They need to get all of them off the fucking in that city. Plainpointblank.com.
Yeah. And the only way to do that is to turn this country into a Russia.
Well,
like I said,
it'll be Russia because ain't nobody doing shit. People, innocent kids getting hit, little babies getting hit.
Everywhere. Everywhere though. It's not just Chicago.
Or either I know it ain't because I live in it. I just told you that. So why you saying that? I know where I'm at, and I know what need to be done. Because you want to say something, get it done. They ain't doing shit about it getting done. Only people that can do something about it getting done is the fucking armed forces of the government that put that shit here. They gotta clean up their mess. That's only how it's gonna get done. I ain't talking no wishy-washy shit. I know exactly what I'm saying. They gotta clean up their own mess. That's only how it can get done. The parents can't get it done. They're scared of the kids. They're scared of their own kids. They don't want to say nothing out of line. Believe that.
Yeah.
So who else gonna do it? Superman, Batman? Because they don't exist.
Yeah.
They let him out. They not listening to that, man. He's old. His time to pass. It's gone and done.
I'm not talking about whose time to pass. Like I said, they knew exactly what they was doing when they put him in there. That's what I was saying. They put him in there for that reason and that reason alone. So they could have it where it is now.
If that's the case, why the OGs ain't speaking up? Like I said, where's the OGs? And you said that
I said they're locked up or they're dead.
No,
and the rest of them, the parents that's getting out of jail, hey, they ain't been in their kids' life for 10 years. How they gonna come out and tell them what to do?
Man, the kids ain't buying no damn apartment buildings, staying in that shit by themselves. They're living with their parents. The parents are scared to talk. They're scared to say anything. They live with their parents.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That whole city don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's ground zero over there. Like they say, Chirac. It is over there. So
it ain't the whole city. It's just part of the city, though. It's not the whole entire city.
Every time you hear something, it's a killing in the whole Illinois.
It's every time you hear something, it's killing going on, but it's not the whole city. It's parts of the city.
Okay, Simon. All right. Well, you're right. I'm wrong.
Chicago is a big town. That's what I'm telling you.
I know. When was the last time you there?
You can be in one part of Chicago where you ain't in another part someplace else. So
and you can go to fucking LA to the nicest suburb you want to, and you still get your ass shot up there because the motherfucker out there that's still busting licks at. Nobody never shit in their backyard. They only fucking congregate in their backyard. They go out and do their robberies and shit out elsewhere where the rich people where the money is at. So think what you're saying. It spreads out through.
They don't do none of that in neighborhoods where they don't live. They do it right where they live.
No, ain't no money where they live at. It's only money with. Oh my goodness. Okay.
There's people where they live at. It's just not like you think it is.
Man, I used to do dirt. Ain't no way in hell I'm gonna do dirt in the broke community
Yeah.
where the fuck I live at. I'm gonna go.
However, you did dirt.
I'm going to where the money is at. I know what they think. I used to.
Yeah.
I think like how they. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it how the fuck they think.
Yeah.
I'm going where the money at. Ain't no money in the damn hood.
They don't care about it not being money in the hood.
Who they gonna rob in the hood? Then,
all they worrying about is gang banging with one another.
They all living in the projects. So only they gonna rob the dope dealers or they gonna rob somebody.
Yes, that's what they doing. They robbing each other.
And that shit get tired. That shit get
Yeah.
dead.
Well, apparently they ain't tired of it. They still doing it.
You only can rob a person once. Okay, so once you rob that person, what are you gonna do now? We gonna get your next robbery from? Thank you.
No, it's not thank you.
Yeah, they going out where the money is at.
No, they ain't.
When the last time you robbed somebody?
When the last time you been to Chicago?
Shit, no. Ask me when the last time I robbed somebody.
No, when the last time you been to Chicago?
I ain't gonna do it there. I ain't gonna do it in my fucking.
No, when the last time you been to Chicago? I said.
don't mean that it's another city. It's another city like this city right here. What you talk about? Just Chicago? It's like
I said. Yeah, I said it was everywhere, but you was like, no, it's just in Chicago.
I mean, I think you talked a little too much. You're not understanding what you
Yeah, you always saying I don't understand what you saying. I hear everything you saying.
No, you're not, because you just contradicted yourself. You said it's everywhere. So
it is everywhere.
So why you saying
you said the killing is
I'm in Cleveland.
I said the killing is everywhere. Gang mentality is everywhere.
Man,
that's what I said.
It gotta be a gang mentality. It could be a one person mentality. If you're talking about money, ain't no nigga gonna rob no broke ass nigga from the same city where he is at. He gonna
somebody that wants some money. They don't care who it is.
He gonna rob.
All they want is the money.
He gonna rob a fucking big ass grocery.
And most of the gangs, I'm telling you what gangs are doing. I'm not talking about just you going out and trying to rob somebody.
About how the mentality is, and you can't tell me about that because you ain't lived it.
You ain't lived it. You live the gang mentality. You live that old block. You live that old block mentality. I don't think you have.
You don't know what you're talking about, Sammy.
No, you don't know what you're talking about. How you gonna tell me what I know?
You've been there in years. You don't even stay there. You ain't been there.
It don't matter. I ain't been there in years. But do you see how old I am, though, Kayon?
That don't mean shit. You don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm speaking what I feel, my opinion about something. That's what you're saying. Okay. All right, Chaos. All right. I'm done with it.
Far-fetched.
No, it's not far-fetched. It's just that you want to be right about stuff and I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, you got an opinion, but you far-fetched with it when you talk about.
No, I'm not.
That shit happens it's everywhere. It's United States.
I said that it happens everywhere. You talking about bringing the doggone bringing in the doggone military to shut down the city, and I said you're talking about making it like Russia, and you went from there to a whole nother thing.
You don't even know about Russia. What type of state?
Yeah, I do know about Russia.
You know about Russia? What type of state is it?
How do you know what I know about Russia?
What type of country is Russia?
How do you know what I know about Russia, though?
Just tell me, what type of country is Russia?
I don't have to tell you about what type of country is Russia. I know that Russia has a man that controls Russia. That's all I need to know.
She don't even live in Russia.
One man
She don't even know what mentality is of a person that's on the street that needs money and where they gonna go to get money. And you try to tell me it won't spread out to no other nice ass community.
I didn't say it wouldn't spread out to no nice community. I told you what them boys are doing with their gang banging.
You can't tell me that you don't need to be cleaned up by no damn government.
Whatever. Okay, chaos, whatever.
If the
Okay,
government
you done jumped all the way off subject, off topic.
No, I'm on subject.
No, you jumped off topic and off subject.
You
You trying to tell me something that you did and what somebody else know. You can't tell me what I know, just like you don't want me to tell you what you know.
And you said, "Oh no, it's only
chaos." It's over. It's over. Chaos. Just forget it. It's over. It's over.
No, it's not over. No, it's not over at all. It ain't over.
Okay, people. All right, listen. All right, I get each side of the story, but can
I
we
ain't
move
telling her
on?
side, but I'm trying to tell her what needs to be done. And you're gonna tell me, "Oh, that no, it's like Russia." You can't even tell me what type of country it is. And I asked you the question. Then you're gonna tell me, "Oh, no, it don't happen everywhere." Then I'll say, "Yes, it happened everywhere." Oh, she telling me about Chicago. It happens in every fucking major city. You can't tell me. And then it spreads out. They ain't just in the neighborhood. They everywhere. How you think they getting the money? They ain't just getting the money in their own backyard. It ain't that anybody that stupid. Of course, it's the easy way to not getting out. But that's why they need a clean sweep. Because can't nobody, they're out of control. They're out of fucking control. The police won't do nothing about it. The mayor won't do nothing about it. She damn sure ain't gonna do nothing about it. Batman and Superman damn sure ain't gonna do nothing about it. Come on, what are you saying? You contradicting yourself all over the board. You just talking, man. You talk, when last time in Chicago, I'm in Cleveland, my nigga. I'm telling you what type of mind, how the hell motherfucker think. I'm trying to tell you on the nice side, but no, you want to get real crazy with it. Do your thing, man. My bad.
Okay, so the next video, chaos.
That shit wild, man. Me.
So you gonna mute me? Not let me mute myself? You ain't gotta mute me. I would just go.
You ain't gonna mess with my show neither. Do your thing.
Okay, you know what? The show is over. I'm done.
Yeah, it's over because I'm gonna delete the shit anyway. I'm already in my feelings. Fuck.